Hey, it's Mark coming to you from Baker's Green Acres. Today is whoa, son, what is it? It's the 28th day of March 2022. I'm Mark Baker, your host, coming to you from Baker's Green Acres in Marion, Michigan. Got a great topic today. The topic is going to be food shortage fear. And I decided to talk about this tonight because I actually made a video today about it. I got up this morning and that's what the headlines were. It was every place. Food shortages, coming from the president, the mainstream media. And I started thinking about it, and I started to immediately in my mind think, why would I listen to these guys now? Why would I listen to them? I kind of want to, I kind of want to say, oh, well, I'm covered. I'm farming here and I'm creating food, so I'm covered. All right, Keith is here and Andy's here, right on. See, Andy's hard work, and I see his antics on the tribe. Burning brush piles. He could be making biochar with that, And anyway, I made this video today, and I've just gotten a lot of input on it from people that I care about. And I realized how much I care about people. Some of my friends that have chimed in, people that I haven't seen in a long time, but are nonetheless my friends, good friends too. Like you guys, you're good friends. I think that we go way too easy on these people and their operations against us. I really do. Doesn't mean I don't mean anything by that. When I think about it, they get away with murder on us, and we sort of just take it. And I'm getting a little tired of it myself, honestly. But my topic tonight is going to be food shortage fear. I'm not talking about food shortages. But our sponsors tonight are Nomadic Media and Valley Varken Farm in let's see, where are they? They are in Williamsburg, Michigan. Good friends of ours. All right. So I've got a few points prepared, and I kind of like this new format where we have a topic. This topic is one that kind of popped up today. This isn't one that you guys asked me for, but I'm going to ask you again to forward some topic suggestions to me, right? Things that we need to talk about, things that need talked about, right? This is a great opportunity to talk about the things that are holding us back as a country, and we're starting to wake up and see, we're sort of like the munchkins in Munchkin Land, wake up wherever you are, and we start seeing that we've been lied to a lot, and we've been deceived by institutions and people that have done a pretty good job of fooling us. But we're in the wake up period right now, and we have people coming right out of the starting gate when something comes up like this food shortage fear, and saying, I don't believe it. I believe you guys will create it, but I don't think it's organic, and I'm not going to fall for your fear. I will not do that. So that is what I want to talk about. And I want to give a little bit of background on my experience in this, in the fear business and in the agriculture business. I want to give just a little bit of background, as I did today in the video that I made. Maybe you've seen it. But I was in the U.S. Air Force for 20 years. I went a lot of places with the Air Force. They were really good to me. I did 20 years and I retired in 2004, right? So that means I made it to a point where you can start to draw retirement. You can go a little bit further than that, but I chose not to, and put my paperwork in, and they let me go. It was a good job. It was a good organization to be a part of, and the military is there to do certain things, right? But the individual member, military member, doesn't matter what branch that you're in, doesn't matter what job that you do, it really doesn't. When you enlist or you become an officer, so you are commissioned, you enter into a contract with the U.S. government, and you pledge your life to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States from all enemies, foreign and domestic. Now, that whole foreign thing, that's not hard for people to wrap their heads around, although it should be a little bit these days, because it's hard for us to really understand. And we've really relied on our federal government to kind of handle that for us, kind of handle that. You guys take care of that. And President Bush says, well, Saddam's got weapons of mass destruction. And so we say, okay, we better go get them. Load the B-52s. We're going. But then we find out there wasn't no weapons of mass destruction. And it got confusing there for a little while. And people kind of let it go, Hey, we got there, they started shooting at us, so we shot back at them, right? And then Afghanistan happened. It was, there's training camps over there, and they're training terrorists to come to the United States, and it's just going to be terrible. They'll take over. They will take over. And, okay, we'll go. So we send all of our stuff over there, and we take care of business, and that didn't turn out too good either, did it? So we start looking at the commander-in-chief and say, do you really know what you're doing here? And I think all of us realize that I don't think they really do know what they're doing, or what they're saying that they're doing and what they're really doing are two different things. But they try to keep us off balance and confused a lot. Even as somebody who was kind of involved in that and know the speak, I still get kind of confused. Who's with us, who's not with us? I don't really know. But anyway, let me give you the background on me. And if I didn't have this background, I wouldn't be so compelled to relate this story to you all. In 2004, I retired, moved to this farm, and started to farm it. I didn't know as much as I do now. Then I was pretty wet behind the ears and struggled quite a bit. I think I was struggling too from not being in the military community, being in the civilian community. I was just not used to it. And so that made it difficult too. I didn't leave here very much. I didn't really want to. But I was doing okay. I mean, I was doing all right. And then in 2010, we were informed by the Department of Agriculture, actually, that the pigs that we raise, we can no longer raise them because they are trying to combat feral swine, and that our pigs had characteristics that they felt were consistent with feral swine. And I tried to tell them, hey, wait, my pigs are behind fences. My pigs don't get away. And they said, oh, if you can build a fence that can hold water, then you can keep a pig in. And I thought, well, that's pretty freaking stupid. But they would say that. They would say that to the public, and then they would tell the public how destructive pigs can be if they get out, and just foolishness. I mean, pigs could be, but if you're a farmer and your pigs get away, then you get them back. If for some reason you can't get them back, then you would shoot them, right? But they always really want to come back because I am the bringer of food. But the Department of Agriculture proved really quickly that they didn't have a firm grasp on the reality of agriculture. And I found that hard to believe back then. But I don't really want to dig that whole thing up. There's a point that I want to make in here. We were in a lawsuit with them, the Department of Natural Resources and the Department of Attorney General, for 3 years. And in that 3 years, those departments basically terrorized my customer base and put us out of business. So I had animals to feed. I had children to feed. I had a farm to, take care of the expenses on fuel, insurance, and all that stuff. And basically, they destroyed my business. And so, I understand that in war, if I have to run bombing missions into, where the factories are or the fuel dumps are, they're going to be heavily defended. But if they've got a ball bearing factory over here that's not very well defended, well, I'll just get that. So what they did was they didn't come directly at me. They went after my restaurants and my retail stores. And of course, restaurants are like, what? And they just basically would back away from us because they didn't want to fight with these departments. And I understand it. I didn't appreciate it at the time. And when I stopped doing business with my retail stores and my restaurants, it was like, see you later, and I don't want anything to do with them anymore, just because they sort of did the Walmart greeter guy thing where they kind of enforced what the state wanted that was incorrect. I didn't have feral swine. They can outlaw feral swine out they want, but my swine were not feral. So I told them, no, I will not dispossess my property. And then all eyes focused on me. And I had those 3 departments coming after me. And, my sheriff wouldn't do anything. My sheriff at the time would not help. He'd give me lip service, but not anything real. He never put pen to paper, not even once. So we were basically kind of on our own. And during that time, it was a storm. It was just a storm. There was different things coming at us all the time. They were threatening to arrest. They were threatening to take children. They were threatening heavy fines against the farm. And they put it in writing, so it was real. It wasn't just hearsay coming my way. It was in writing. 700,000 is what they thought they were going to put against us. When they made mention about my children, I hope you guys are listening to this because we don't forget, we don't forget. And that was a little too far. And we'll see what happens, but that was over the top. So we'll see what happens. We don't forget. That was a bad thing that they did. You shouldn't do that. But these are not people these are parasites. These are not even clear thinking people. They may be in the Department of Agriculture, but they're not agricultural people. They're not farm people, right? They're cubicle people. They're people who maybe went through the university for 4 years and they needed a job, so they become, Department of Agriculture. They're not necessarily hardworking family people. Most of the ones that I met were freaks, actually. They weren't sure whether they were boys or girls. They weren't sure who they should be getting in bed with. To me, that's kind of strange that there was so many of them like that. Um, the one inspector that we had for a while, she would spend most of her time here stuffing her fat face and complaining about her marital situation, right? So she really wasn't performing any function for the state. And I thought, this is really weird that they pay these people to do this. But whatever, that was the civilian thing. But so I don't have high opinions of any of those organizations, not at all, as you can tell. And they didn't earn any of it, right? And there's a lot of water under the bridge as far as that goes. But the point that I'm making is during that time, they have a couple of ways that they operate. First, they come up with a problem, reaction, solution. And they say, feral swine are a huge problem in the state of Michigan. And I was like, well, that's not my problem. That's your problem. And they said, no, that is your problem, because guys like you that are farming and have your pigs out on pasture, your pigs are getting away and you don't even know it. And they're becoming feral, and they're killing baby ducks and baby deer and stealing vehicles, and they're probably stealing children. And it's because of you, because you're farming and you don't know what you're doing. And I said, not me. It's not my problem. I didn't do that. And they said, well, it doesn't matter. We have this rule that we made, and you've got to get rid of your pigs because we friggin' say so. And I was like, oh, yeah? Well, I say I'm not going to do it. And you'll move. I'm not doing it. And so then they focused on me. Now, at the same time, there were many farmers around here that went out and massacred their animals. I mean, literally went out and shot their animals. The Department of Natural Resources said that you could gather up your animals and you could sell them out of state. You could sell them out of state, but you couldn't keep them in the state of Michigan. Hey, Fifth Amendment, buddy. My life, my liberty, and my property is protected under due process of law. These guys don't make law. And they know it. They know it. They just try it. And then when you don't comply, then they make threats. We'll arrest you. And that's supposed to create fear in me. And I'm supposed to say, well, maybe I will. I don't want the problems. I mean, we've got enough problems as it is. I don't need to be arrested. But then I was like, wait a freaking minute. No, I'm not doing it. And then they'd say, $700,000 fine. And that was designed to make me afraid again. I got that one in writing. That one just irritated me. It just, I actually brought the rage out in me, which I had to really be careful of that too, And then the thing with my children, I didn't even really discuss that one because that was one I just couldn't even, I just couldn't say, because I wouldn't comply with the Department of Agriculture. They were going to get their buddies at CPS to just keep an eye on my children for me. That was a good one. That was, now they're trying to get me to say something or maybe gesture towards somebody or even take a poke at one of them, and then they got you, right? That's how they do it. And I wouldn't play. I said, okay, let's settle it in court. We got to within 10 days of our court case where they would have had to go before God and country and say, okay, any pig with a straight tail or a curly tail is illegal, with a jury there and a judge and the cameras rolling. They would have appeared to be foolish, which they are. I'm telling you, they're foolish. Department of Agriculture, they're a bunch of foolish people. And I'm going to prove that in a minute. My point is, through this whole time, this whole 3-year period, they destroyed my business. They initiated fear in everyone around us. I have family here, and I never got a knock on the door saying, can we help you with something? Or can we like talk about this? Can you help us understand what's happening to you? No, because they were petrified. They actually were petrified. They did that. And that has not gotten better. That never recovered. They destroyed those relationships forever, right? This is what they do. Like, they want what they want, and they don't give a shit about American people. That's why I dislike them so badly. But this isn't about them. That's not about them. There are a lot of gross, parasitic vermin, that are around us in society. Honestly, there are. But these ones are getting paychecks that they take our money, our hard-earned money, and they give it to this vermin class of people, this parasite class of people. And they say that they're here for food safety. So I'll get to that in a minute. But anyway, the point that I'm trying to make, I know I can get off on those guys, is in that 3-year period, they took away my base of people around me, my community. They took them away because my community was afraid. They were scared to death. Not, there's 54 churches in this neighborhood here. Not one of those pastors or any of the parishioners came and said, can we help you? No, not one. And I didn't recover from that either. I remember that, I don't forget that. So we basically had no money coming in. Our business was destroyed. We had all these animals to feed, plus my children to feed. And they thought that they would choke us out. They would just starve us out, basically. Like, we just couldn't continue. And we would finally say, all right, we give up. Well, what we did, luckily, we're butchers as well as farmers. So we were able to survive off some of our animals, right? That's why I'm always telling you to do that. Always, always get your skills up so you can survive, because it was a survival process. I didn't have money to go to the store and buy stuff. But we survived right up until the day of our court case. We survived. I was able to keep my family fed, keep water coming up out of the ground, keep people clean, the toilets flushed, the house warm the best we could. And we hung in there. It was really uncomfortable, but I wasn't going to let them. I wasn't going to allow the men that I lost in my time in the military, their deaths be in vain. Because if you let this vermin class of scumbags, these departments, the departments are not good. They're really not. And not all of them are as bad as the rest of them, but they're way too unaccountable and they have way too big of budgets. And I think something needs to change, because they're the ones that suck freedom from us more than the legislative body does. But the legislative body is kind of wimpy. They don't do anything. Like my senator, I have a representative up here in Lake City, never, ever returned a phone call to me when this whole thing was going on. Never, ever did. And, oh, yeah, I was right there for you, man. I was right behind you. He said that to some people. Lies, just total liars. But anyway, we were able to survive. Just stay hydrated and stay fed, sleep in a warm house, which, eventually that was going to run out, but it didn't. We hung in there for long enough to where our court case was 10 days away. And what did the Department of Attorney General do? Oh, we're going to move for a dismissal because we no longer have a problem with Mark's pigs because we say so. That's exactly what they said. And the judge was like, oh, Well, in that case, case dismissed. But prior to that, it was like we had to pay lawyers and lobbyists. I had to pay a lobbyist $3,000 a month. Yeah, $3,000 a month just to stay informed as to what was going on. And I wouldn't do that again, but I didn't know anything back then. That they prey on you. You don't know anything. They don't tell you the truth. That's why they wear the three-piece, $3,000 silk tie suits, and you don't. That's why you go to work every day, and they get fat. They're overfed, silk tie wearing fat bodies is what they are. And most of them, they're not doing too well because they don't work, you know. But anyway, we were able to hang in there. So here's my points list. And I told you that, so I figured that you will want to hear what I say because I did survive, right? If you are taking from points from people who gave up, so I gave up, but I'll tell you what to do, yeah? Or they zapped me in court, you know, I lost everything, spent 4 years in jail, but I'll tell you what to do. I didn't. We still have our farm. We still have our family made it through somewhat intact. Some of the relationships are strained, and I don't think I can ever, I don't know if it will ever be, you know, the way it was. I mean, when you have people that, you know, for 3 years, like, la, 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 they don't want to hear it. Come over for dinner, but we're not going to talk about that. Yeah, it's just, it's more than you can. I mean, when you're being threatened with jail time and, you know, loss of children and things like that. And it was tough on my older boys because they saw their dad in a way that war should not be here in my home, you know, and it was in my home. So they did that. And like I said, we don't forget. But anyway, here's my points. When you're told something terrible by the president, like, hey, food shortage, it's inevitable. Like he told us last fall, you're not going to be getting the presents that you thought you were. Not my fault. It's COVID. It's the Chinese. It's their fault. Yeah. And then this year, you're going to be experience food shortage. You're going to be hungry. Your children are going to go to bed without eating. But there's not, you know, I'm the president, but there's nothing I can do. I mean, it's Putin. It's the Russians. It's not me. I mean, I had to sanction them, but you all know I had to do that because they invaded Ukraine. I had to do it, and you all are going to starve. But it's not my fault, is what he says. And I think we have a tendency, you know, well, at least he's being upfront with us. You idiots. But that's kind of the reaction that people get when they're faced with something like that is fear. And as soon as you're put in the fear mode, you go into fight or flight. So I'm either going to rip your tongue out and reach down your throat and get your heart, or I'm running. You know, you're not thinking outside of those two things, right? And fight or flight is good, but that's not where you want to be. You want to be like, wait a minute. What are you doing here? You know, it's sort of like some kid pulls a knife that comes out. I'm going to stick you, man. Give me your wallet. Well, when that happens, he is putting you, and he knows it, he's putting you into fight or flight. And so you're either going to run or you're going to pull that Bowie knife out and carve it, right? Either or. But if he said to you, "Excuse me, sir, I'd like you to give me my wallet, please. Your wallet, please, because, I need money for my kids to go to college," or he sent you a letter saying, I'm gonna, I'm gonna hold you up, but very nicely. Maybe the fight or flight doesn't happen, and there's can be a little negotiating going on, So I guess what I'm saying here is the fight or flight reaction is probably not what you want to do. When you hear Sleepy Joe Biden, I mean, yeah, he seems to be referred to as the president of the country. I honestly don't know. I believe it sometimes, and other times I just don't. The whole thing seems like a movie to me, a bad movie. But the fear that could be created by those statements is real. And of course, the mainstream media is going to echo all of it. And I have a friend downstate, and he sent me 8 pictures this weekend, all different pictures of stores that he went in and took pictures, because I said, I don't think there's going to be a food shortage. I just don't. I don't think there really is a food shortage. I think that there are people that are going to intentionally throw wrenches into the system to make it appear as though there's a food shortage. But that's neither here nor there. I think when we hear this and we are told that there's going to be a food shortage, we cannot allow ourselves to fall into fear. Now, this doesn't really happen to me. I'm not sure why. But I see it all around me. I see the fear around me. And so this morning I made this video because I thought, if you can just talk sense to one person, let's do it. Let's make a video. And as it was, the video, I don't think it went very well, but we'll see. I mean, I think it was a good video, but I don't think Facebook's going to like it. So we'll see what happens. But, it can usually go out 300-400 people before they get a handle on it. So, okay. So as soon as you realize that the main thing that they're selling is fear, you got to pull back a little bit and you got to hold. And then you got to think, wait a minute. I have to think this through. I have to decide what to do here. It's going to do no good for me to curl up in the fetal position and just be afraid. That's not going to work, right? But your reaction should not be, and I apologize because a lot of times I've said, well, there's something you can do right now. Get to Walmart and spend $500 on food, and then at least you have that. Or I've said spend $1,000 on food, and at least you have that. But, a lot of people don't have $1,000. But I would say whatever you have, get it. And then at least you have something. But I'm not sure if that's what we want to be doing. I think maybe in the short term, yeah. In the short term, sure. Just like when it was, when this was happening before with toilet paper. But that seemed really stupid to me anyway. But in the short term, well, if you're at the store, and get some, But I don't think it was smart to buy a pallet of TP. Whenever you're prepping out of fear, I think that you're thinking short term and you're just not making good decisions. I just don't think you do. Because you're in that fight or flight mentality and you only have, I have or I don't have. You're not thinking long term. And I think when we are prepping in the fight or flight mode, what we are not thinking about is community, right? And I came to the realization today that I have people that I don't know very well in my own community. And that is a mistake. That is a mistake for me. And I need to do something about that. So when I see this fear being thrown at me, I think, I think I'll go meet my neighbor. I think I'll do that. I mean, I know them, but I haven't invited them over for dinner and stuff like that. And I should, right? And I'm going to, because that's the long-term prepping, when we're united, we're a lot stronger as a group than when we're just individuals. And you remember during the Wu flu, they tried to break us all into individuals, right? And that was planned. None of it had to do with our health. They don't give a damn about our health. They would like it if most of us died anyway. I'm kind of sure of that by this point. Prepping for long term, like food production, gives you security. All right. So a friend of mine sent me these pictures of store shelves down in the southern part of the state, empty. And I got to admit, it didn't really have much impact on me because it was like the donut section. Well, I don't really care about that, and I don't need that to live. But we are at a place where we're not really living to eat, we're eating to live. And I never didn't want to be held hostage by the fact that I had to rely on somebody else for food. I didn't want that. And so I've worked in the direction where I can create my own food. I create a lot of my own food. We could stop buying from the store tomorrow and it wouldn't affect us. We could keep going. We could just keep going. Okay, so if you're not in the fight or flight mentality, like you shouldn't be, calm down, no fear, and say, okay, they want me afraid, but that takes effort. So I'm going to use that effort to do something else. Spring's coming. I think I'll get some mushroom logs going. Well, is that like the answer to all your caloric needs? No. But is a garden? No. Are those chipmunks that you're going to trap, they're going to be the answer to your caloric needs? No. But it's part of it, right? Is the food that you get on aisle 1 the answer to your caloric needs? No. Aisle 2? No. It's all the aisles. And it may be even this store and then this store and then this store. It's like a lot of stores, right? So you're not going to become self-sustainable or self-reliant overnight, but you can do something. I got 4 mushroom logs. All right. Now I got 2 buckets and I'm going to grow tomatoes in them. All right. Now I'm going to fill 2 more buckets. I'm going to grow cucumbers in there. All right. Now I've got these jars. I'm going to put the cucumbers in the jar with salty water and vinegar. Now I got pickles. All right. Now I'm going to learn how to butcher chicken. All right. See? So you're taking from them. Look at what they're doing. Don't you see what they're doing? They were trying to make you afraid that you weren't going to get presents for Christmas. Oh no. I'm going to have to do without presents for Christmas. Cheap stuff from China, I'm going to have to do without. Oh no. And now you can't stand more than 6 feet closer to the next person in line. Oh no, they've taken it away. You didn't even care about that before, but as soon as they took it, it's like, oh no. Now we're going to take away your personality. We're going to put a thing over your face. You're going to look like a Muslim woman with a burqa on. They don't even look human. And I don't think people wearing faces, I don't think they even look human. I was in a store the other day, And me and my wife were getting, this is just a little side note. I can do this once in a while without getting yelled at. We were in a store the other day, and the woman behind the counter, I had been in there at Christmas time to get stuff, for Christmas for my wife. And she was there, and I thought, she looked like a nice person, but I couldn't see her face. And there was something about her face being covered. She didn't even look at me. And I thought she was kind of a hag, And we were in there the other day, and like the mask mandate is gone in Michigan. Only the retards are wearing face masks. Yes, I said retard. I don't care. And she didn't have a face mask on, and she was talking to me, and she had smiling eyes. She had a pretty face, and she was really nice. And I felt, wow, I feel bad about thinking she was a real you-know-what. And I said, you know what? The last time I was in here, last time I talked to you, I couldn't see your face. I'm really glad that I can see your face. I said that to her. And she was, she kind of was having a good day. She was having a good day. And I was having a good day because of that too. And she said, oh, that was terrible. I hated that. I hated every minute of it. But so-and-so at the store thought it was a good idea because some of the customers had complained about it, right? Whatever. So she complied. That's my little rabbit trail. But, everything that I thought about her and the discomfort and all that time of me not being able to converse with another human being because some scumbag parasite at Lansing, at the state capitol said, we think this is a good idea. And that they knew better. They did. But they just were trying to take something away from us. They were. We know it now. They, trust the science. There's no science that says wearing a dust mask is going to keep a virus off you, right? It's foolishness. We all knew it from the beginning. But I'm a little angry. I'm not a little angry. I'm a lot angry about that. I'm as angry with them about that as I am with, let's say, Department of Agriculture people for the nightmare that they put my family through just to push down the road their a little agenda, right? So let me keep going. One of my points here is when you encounter fear, remember this, turn fear into farming, right? Turn fear into farming. Whenever you get afraid of something, fortify your position. If you got food, you can hang for a long time. Long time. We don't need ammo. We need food. Really, the fight or flight thing, that's when you got these prepper people that are saying, oh, I've got the latest AR-15 and I've got 10,000 rounds of ammo. When are you going to fire 10,000 rounds of ammo? You're not. It's just dumb. That's fight or flight. If you're the type of person that is going to steal from people who have prepped, you don't need 10,000 rounds of ammo. You need a 38 revolver, And then my last thing that I have on here, and then I'm going to do the extra and take questions from y'all, is review the reliability tape. Okay? In the course of contemplating the fear that they're trying to push on you, start thinking about the reliability of these organizations that try to push fear. Right? The president, this president, and his Department of Agriculture, U.S. Department of Agriculture. Let's think about their reliability here for a second. Okay, the president is saying, hey, we're going to be running out of food. And you all better get used to being hungry. Wait a minute. You, sir, are the most powerful person in the United States or in probably the world. And the Department of Agriculture, U.S. Department of Agriculture, reports to you. Why is this happening? Please report. Why is this happening? There is a breakdown someplace, and get it fixed is what I would say to Sleepy Joe. Get it fixed, you moron. Why can't you fix this? We're short of food. You can't fix this? No, we can't. Russia. No, can't do nothing about it. Let's talk about the Department of Agriculture in Michigan. All right. We're having problems in Michigan right now. It's not people food. It's feed for the animals. I've been hearing about this for a couple of weeks. It's bad. What about it, Department of Ag? Where are you? If this ain't your fault, I don't know whose it is. Where are the solutions? We're paying you, you parasitic wieners. We're paying you to do a job. Are you able to come up with any solutions here at all? Are you chiming in at all? At all? No. So you'll be there to put a farmer out of business. Oh, yeah, you'll do that. Somebody that doesn't want to comply with your foolishness. But when we start having a problem in our animals, we're having animal feed issues. I'm not. The factory farms are. Where are you? Not to be heard of. So you're getting a paycheck to manage, agriculture in the state of Michigan, but you're not a peep out of them. And our governor's not sticking her finger in the belly button of the director of the Department of Agriculture and saying, "Get this fixed, Junior, or you're fired. Get it fixed." Nope, that's not happening. They're just saying, "Oh, you people, you're going to have to get used to being hungry." Yeah, because Russians, the Russians. So I think it's time to start thinking about who we can rely on, Like, I may not know my neighbor to the east. I could pick him out of a lineup. I know where he works. But I would rely on him a lot more than I would rely on any one of these departments, with the exception, I have to put an exception in there, the Department of State Police. I am a fan of the Michigan State Police. A lot of people don't like that. I can't say that they're flawless. They've done some things, even in my neighborhood, that I find a little problematic. But it's a supervision problem. It's not the guy that is likely to be the first on the scene if my wife has a car accident. That young man or young woman would likely crawl into a burning car to get my wife out. Though that's who they are, right? So I am a fan of the state police and county cops. I may not be a great fan of certain sheriffs, but the young men and women who serve as law enforcement, first responder types. Law enforcement, they are the first responders. I don't like getting pulled over either for a taillight out, but I've gotten pulled over before and sent on my way with a taillight out. I actually got pulled over for running a stop sign about 15 years ago, and the kid was way down the road. And I could see a car way down the road, and I just did one of these. I looked both ways, and I rolled through, right? I didn't come to a complete stop. He pulled me over, and he says, "You ran through that light." And I said, I did. You got me fair and square. I didn't say I was sorry. And he said, "Where are you going?" I had a kid sitting next to me and two behind me in an S10 pickup, right? And he says, "Where are you going?" I said, "IGA." He says, "Be more careful. I'll see you." Right? Good guy. I felt very secure with him on the road. I really did. I'm not a cop hater. by any means. I don't like bad cops, right? I don't. I'm not a big fan of the FBI. I'm sorry. It's just not. They've dropped the ball too many times, and upper leadership at the state police, I'm unsure of. I'm just unsure of. But I'm not a fan of the Attorney General's office at all. They've been very hard on my family and hard on the people of the state. They don't take their oaths very seriously, and so that's that. My extra is going to be this really is in our court. We have to be the ones that become self-reliant and strong, much stronger than the frickin' bureaucrats. And we really are. Just by our nature, we're a lot stronger than the friggin' bureaucrats. Most of them are nothing. That's why they are bureaucrats, right? And I think that we should pay attention to our strengths, play to them, and then work with our brothers, our neighborhood people, our friends, and our associates, and start building this community, because we need it. We need it now, right? So instead of really, Sleepy Joe comes up, going to be food shortages, instead of trying to light them up and say, get it fixed, you jerks, fix it ourselves. It's like they're not going to fix it. They probably created it, right? They probably did. Probably? No, I think they definitely created it. A lot of you people are going to die from the Wu flu. Don't take ivermectin, though, or any of these other things. Take this remdesivir. This will be good. That'll drive the body count. So, you can't trust them. And I think we should know that by now. Mostly anything that they say on the mainstream media is going to be propaganda. I don't think this can continue forever. I think that we're coming down to a place where a lot of this is dissolving now. And that's why they have pulled the stops on the, hey, Russia didn't work. All right, let's hit them with the food shortage. That'll scare the snot out of these peasants. But I don't know if that's going to work. I don't know if that's going to work, because we're immediately coming out and saying, don't panic, grow food. Don't panic, learn how to butcher cattle. Don't panic, learn how to run some chickens. Well, I heard this guy. They put this guy on my feed. Of course, he's got the cowboy hat on, and he's chewing some straw, and he's like, well, this is really underreported. And, he's got this thing going, and it's about the bird flu, which I keep hearing things here and there about all over, but they just don't come out and blab it. And, they had to kill this many chickens in this county. And my question is, did they test them? Did they test them first? Or did the producer just say, yeah, go ahead, kill them. We're going to get paid. The government will pay us for them. We don't care. We're going to get paid one way or another, and they're going to die one way or another. We don't care. Were they sick? Or are you guys just pushing an agenda? Right? So I've been hearing, they're showing up at small farms and coming in asking to see if they can test your small flock for the avian flu. If you let those people on your property, you need your head examined, because it's just like if you let them in your body to take a PCR test. Yep, this one's sick. He's sick, all right. Yep, the PCR test says you got the Wu flu, but I feel fine. Don't let that fool you. No, you're sick. You're probably going to die from that Wu flu. This test says so. They're going to do the same thing with the avian flu and the PCR test. Don't you know that? That's what they do. They're all a bunch of liars, cheaters, beggars, and thieves. And they're, it's on the line for them. Can you imagine if we had honest government? If we had if we had an honest governor that said, you know what, I want an audit of every one of these damn departments. and I want it in my desk in 1 month. And we're going to make some decisions in 1 month. You 4 guys, I want you in my office, and you're going to write some bills. If you don't, I'm going to bring a lot of pressure to bear on you. And these bills are to, this department is going to be cut. This department is going to be cut. And we're going to continue to cut them every year for the next 5 years, because we've been continuing to build them for the last 50 years. And now if somebody's Uncle Tony needs a job, they open up a slot over here. Oh, Uncle Tony's nephew's gonna get out of college. We got to get a job for him. He's a good kid. Yeah. So they make a new job for him. No, I would get rid of a lot of that fat and put your people to work. If you want to work, go get a job, but you're not going to work for the government and get a fat paycheck to do nothing. And that's what is going on. A lot of them do nothing. That's why I call them parasites. They don't produce a thing. That's why I'm not lenient on the state police. It's just that I've met several of them, and they're reliable. They would be the ones that I would say, help me drag this guy, help me, and I think that they would be there. I've met a lot of firemen like that. I've met a lot of EMTs like that. I know them, right? So I can't condemn the state police. And I get a hard time for that, but I'm sorry, I can't do it. I mean, these are good young men and women, and they go in and they are oath takers too. They take an oath to protect and defend. So I've got to give them credit where credit is due. And anyway, I'm going to leave it there. They're not parasites. They produce. They are patrolmen, right? A patrolman produces a patrol. Yeah, you might see them sitting on the side of the road picking their nose once in a while, but they're on patrol. They've run a patrol, right? It's very important that our streets are patrolled. It's extremely important, right? Our border needs to be patrolled a little bit better than it has been, but all right. So that's my extra, and I'm gonna take questions now. If you all want to question me about anything that I've said, I should go through and I should read what you all have written. I got a new pair of glasses the other day from Home Depot. Nice, huh? Blue. They didn't have pink. Okay. Oh, good. Andy, right on. Cool. Wow. Lots of. Okay. Okay, Jonathan's with us. The ghost is with us. Literal murder. Safe and effective murder. How long after Sal gives birth does she go back into heat? Can be 4 days. Can be. He likes to try and breed her at 4 days, you'll notice. If she takes or not is up for discussion. Okay, Andy's got a subject suggestion. What natural materials are on many homesteaders that folks don't think about? Okay, what natural materials are on many homesteads that folks don't think about? Oh, that's a good one. Like what, you move on to a homestead, what resources are sitting there that you might overlook? And we've been talking a lot about that, Andy, like rediscovering the value of things, right? As austerity measures kick in. That's what this is, right? Is it not? Hey, food shortage. That's austerity measures. They're bringing into us into austerity. What's next? We might have to shut the electricity off. Well, we got to shut it off because if we don't, and the power lines are hot, and there's a windstorm, it could start a fire. So we're going to have to shut them off. Rolling blackouts. But you'll get used to them. You'll get used to them. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Stores, retail stores, we've already shut a lot of them down, haven't we? Yeah. Restaurants, don't worry about them. You're not going to need it anymore because the money, the deflation. Oh, fuel, you won't need it. You won't need it. No, don't worry about that. Austerity measures. That's where we're at. This is not anything new. It's just a little kind of new to the United States, but they're playing with Americans, and we'll see how it works out for them. Because I can guarantee you, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. But I don't think it's equal. I think once you irritate American men, women too, maybe. I see women. The only women I get to see really is my wife and my daughter, and my daughter-in-laws. They are more focused on their children. But I have watched the behavior of men. They get a little shifty, and they start sharpening up the Bowie knife, and they want scalps. Yeah, they want scalps. Okay, so that would be really good. What natural materials are on the homestead? I really need to write that down. Jill, you think you got that? She said check. Nancy Dort's with us. Welcome. Went back to your old picture. Oh, Jill's got it. Good topic, Andy. I will take note. Good. Yeah. Yep, I know. Ghost said, LOL, and they buried Osama at sea. Yeah, sure they did. You know, the most wanted man in the country. Oh, yeah, we got him, but we dumped him overboard. We didn't want to irritate the Muslims, you know. So we thought it was better to do that, because if you irritate the Muslims, I mean, you're liable to have some real problems. And the Americans are like, oh, okay. Well, we finally got him. Good. That vindicates all those 3,000 people that died in the Twin Towers, right? Stupid. Okay. Yeah, Jonathan, I agree. Jonathan's saying, not foolish. This is all planned. They want to quietly pass these rules to slowly tighten the noose on all self-sufficient people. A lot like the BS inch-by-inch gun control for the last 100 years. Yeah. They have a plan, all right? Remember this. They have a plan. But the question is, are you going to let them execute it, right? I made a comment. I'm on this one forum. You guys know I'm looking at school buses. I want to do a rebuild on a build out on a school bus to have a camper that I can use on our anyone can farm on the roads. And the build out is important to me. I think it would be really fun to do. So I'm looking on forums and stuff, and there was this one guy that said, help, my county has made a rule that all buses that can be seen from the road or the sidewalks must be dispossessed immediately. So I just said, I don't want to get into because it's always, but I said, please refer to the Fifth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. And some guy pipes in, yeah, but they got regulations and they back them up with fines. And so the guy is actually cheerleading for the county that's saying you can't possess this because we friggin' say so. In 180-degree direction to the Fifth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, which is the supreme law of the land. Now, I realize that maybe seeing a school bus in somebody's driveway would be offensive to some people. I get that, you know. But are school buses illegal? No. Can you have crack cocaine on private property because it's private property? No, because crack cocaine is illegal. School buses are not illegal. But when you have a county and the county commission gets together and somebody says, you know, I don't think these people should be having school buses in their backyards. And Aunt B says, well, that's right. Ain't that right, Andy? And Andy says, well, it's true, but they have a constitutional right to their property under the Fifth Amendment. But Aunt B says, if you want to eat tonight, Andy, you shut your mouth. And so they come up with a rule and they float it out in the newspaper or whatever. And people say, oh, well, I guess they'll fine you. They'll fine you. Well, you know, if you comply with their rules, then I guess they got you. I guess they got you. If you're not willing to fight for your property, what if they said anybody that has a redheaded child, you're going to have to give them up over the state custody, or you'll be fine because we say so. I guess we got to give up Junior because they said so, you know, and it's such a hassle to fight the state. You know, it's such a hassle. I don't want to hassle. Just give him up. Get rid of him. Never liked that kid anyway. What a bunch of wusses. Bunch of wusses. Fight. Fight. Hang on to what's yours. Don't let these scum take your property. Nancy's saying hi to Coastal. That's good. These Canadians get along good. I like that. I like seeing the camaraderie amongst Canadians. We've got Coastal, we've got Nancy, and we've got the Ghost. Nancy's saying, next week I'll buy a fence and solar charger. That a girl. Wow, a 1 joule charger they were pushing past. That surprises me. You know what? When buying a fencer, it's a good investment. I just bought one and I paid $300 for it. But even with the fence, they had, you know, been roughhousing and broke it at a splice, and both sides were laying on the ground. They still wouldn't go near it. So it was grounded out, but they still wouldn't go near it. So you buy the best fencer you can. And if it says, oh, this is good for 5 miles, and you're thinking, wow, I don't have 5 miles. You know, I've got 100 by 100 pen. Buy the 30 miler. Send them to the hospital. You know, you'll shock them once, and they'll never want to get shocked again. Okay. Got a new 3.1 joule, the one from Home Hardware. I sent you the link for. Okay. Good. I'd like to see people helping each other on this. Pigs don't want to push by that one, though. Shocky, shocky. A batter as well up. A batter. I'm not sure I know what a batter is. The one I was looking at was solar, and you can hook up a batter. Oh, a battery as well. Okay, I get you. That's Canadian for battery. They shorten it, and they just call them batter. So like English people call the trunk on the car the boot. And they'll call under the hood, they'll call it the bonnet, right? Feel free to correct me, Nancy, if I'm making stereotypes about Canadian people. Yeah. I bought one of them, Gallagher, them. I bought one of them Gallagher multi-power chargers. Haven't used it yet, but the box says it comes with a 110 volt adapter, and it can use 12 volt battery or a solar panel. Wow. There you go. That's the way to go. Battery chargers are great. I use them, and I use old car batteries, and they work really good. CGI Joe, you never know if that's really him at any time in particular. It just doesn't look like the same guy. And Vladdy doesn't look like the same guy either. Vladimir Putin doesn't look like the same guy. Expert 1875, we will experience higher prices, and the putz we call president is pathetic. I don't call him president, so it's, doesn't stick to me. Maybe when you got to the store, if you use one, buy one of 2 for the shelf. Okay. Remember the time we exported. Okay, well, I'm not sure what you're talking about. Vindictes Willis, welcome. People keep lowballing me on my feeder pigs, and I am just sticking to my guns. If they don't pay me the price I want, well, that's just more meat I have in reserve. Tell you what, Jonathan, now that you know how to butcher, working with Sean, you can be in the driver's seat. Just feed them out, because they're worth way more money in meat. And Sean's with us too. Way to go. Sean, you did a good thing working with Jonathan. And that's embarrassing. And Jonathan. And Harley. Jonathan and Harley. I have found that fear is the lack of knowledge. Yeah. Fear of the unknown. And Brittany. We found a very small hatchery about 30 minutes away who are selling Cornish cross for $1.50 per bird. So we put in an order for 75 this morning. Right on, man. Hey, along the lines of them saying that, we're going to have the avian flu deal, and that, they may have to shut down. You know who they'll go after? They'll go after the hatcheries. That's, if they were smart, they would, and they will. And of course, they'll just take a bunch of federal fake dollars and they'll give it to the hatchery, and the hatchery will say, sorry, we can't send out any birds because we don't want the avian flu. That's what they'll do. So I think if you wanted to get ahead of the game, now would be a really good time to get smart about what you need to create the Cornish cross or the Freedom Ranger. The Cornish cross, I believe, is a Plymouth Rock and I used to know. I don't know. I don't know right now. But if you did know, and then you had a small flock, let's say you had, 25 of them, and then a really nice incubator, you could be putting birds out. And I don't think I'd just put them out. I think I would put them out as people order them. Like people would have to pay for them first, and then I'll hatch them out. That would be a nice thing to be into now. And you'd be out in front of it. I mean, just think of it. If every day you collect 25 eggs and you were to sell those eggs, those 25 eggs, let's say you collect 24 eggs, let's just make it easy, and you sell them for $4 a dozen. Let's say you sell them for $5 a dozen. So per day, you're making $10 in eggs. If you hatched them out and you sold them for $1.50 a piece, how much would that be? $1.50 times 24, that'd be 24 plus 12. That'd be $36 out of those eggs, as opposed to 10. It's worth looking at. That is worth looking at. And that's if you sell them at $1.50, you know. You could sell them for more than that, I bet. Okay, Inga, welcome. Fear equals not being able to problem solve. When you get in fear, when fear comes, or let's say, you remember that I alluded to this before in the movie Crocodile Dundee. He's walking along with that good-looking blonde chick, and some kid says, "Hey, buddy, got a light? And your wallet." And he hits the switchblade. And Dundee, he just kind of, and she says, "He's got a knife." And he says, "That's not a knife. That's a knife." And he carves him up a little bit. And he just says, a couple of kids having fun. Well, he didn't get scared, right? Because, he was a man of the bush. And he just didn't get scared, right? When you get scared, you either fight or flight. But he didn't get scared, so he had fun with the kid. Just kids having a bit of fun, right? I'll just cut his jacket up a little bit just for fun. Me and Mick Dundee from Down Under. I used to love that. Show. LOL, Chipmunks. I just got a vision of Ted Nugent at the grill with a bottle of barbecue sauce. Yeah, good old Ted. I have his cell phone number in my cell phone if you want it. He's not who you think he is. I can assure you of that. That man is a fraud. I can assure you of that. But what's the point? I'm no fan. I've spoken to him on the phone like 10 times. And he came out and endorsed the Attorney General after, pumping me for information. Yeah, he's a fraud. Big time. Cutting up the last beef of the season tomorrow. Wow. Going to be some great BBQ this summer. I wonder why you're packing it in so early. Must be because of the heat down there. But I thought you had a bunch of HVAC going. Huh. I guess we'll talk some other time. Food and ammo is really nice. Ammo is good for trading. If you've ever been in a situation where you had a certain amount of ammo on you and that's all you had, you are really careful of that ammo. You're really careful of that ammo. And when somebody burns off a lot of their ammo, they'll trade you food for ammo. For sure. Not that I know anything about that. Crunchy, I talked to one of my buddies into buying 4 more steers with me in another month, and he wants to help me butcher them. All right. See? Coastal Sand, I went to the grocery store today, got a small turnip and a small cabbage, softball sides, a 2-pound and 2 pounds of carrots, $10.59. Wow. A turnip, a cabbage, and some carrots. You can't live on that. Wow. He not going to fix it. He wanted it this way. I know. I know. Crunchy's giving Jonathan the thumbs up. I'm proud of you. Your family will eat like kings. Isn't that something? Teach a man to fish, man. Teach a man to fish. Yep. Share seeds with your neighbors or give them some starter plugs. Yeah, I think I might have some seed spore or some mushroom spore to share at our seed sharing. Let's see, April 16th. It's a Saturday. We're going to have a seed swap here at the farm. Yeah, Jonathan's saying, yeah, what happened to the government promoting victory gardens during the, yeah, these idiot bags are coming out saying, yeah, there's going to be shortages. They're not coming out and saying, you know what, y'all need to get with your extension service and you need to get with the university and all the experts down there. And we all need to start growing food because the Russians, they don't say that. Crunchy's saying, I heard they're using PCR test on birds because that works. Yes, it does. But, they don't test your animals if you don't let them on. I don't know anything about racing. Fun fact, ricin poisoning mimics cold and flu-like symptoms. Culling asymptomatic plots for PCR tests. Nothing sketchy here, yeah. Andy Zumwald, 22 years in the military, and I know the government lies. Seen it. Yeah, that's sad. That's really sad. Jonathan, hey, I've been angling for a job as a county VSO. I would love to have to do nothing job BSing with the vets. Oh, VSO is Veteran Service Officer. Inga Brummans, ricin is one of the most toxic poisons known to man. Extremely hard to prove ricin poisoning mimics death by flu. How many city folks own shovels and self-powered tools anymore? Not even a lot of us country folks don't do it. We really should. USA Patriot, the People's Convoy is leaving D.C. on Thursday to travel back to California to highlight pending medical infringement legislation designed to restrict freedoms now enjoyed. We don't hear too much of that from the mainstream media. I wonder why. Mr. J, you mentioned fuel don't sick the Department of Agriculture Weights and Measurements Division on a gas station that's ripping us off to the tune of half the gas I paid for. You mentioned fuel. Don't sick the Department of Agriculture Weights and Measures Division on a gas station. I'm not sure what you're griping about there, Mr. J. You're going to have to be a little bit more explicit. We should have a problem-solving show. A what if they do this, we do this. We can do that. And how would that work in this format? How would that work in this new format? Problem solving, like a role-playing show. You guys give me a scenario and I walk you through it. It's sort of like being the county sheriff, actually. When you're the county sheriff, what you do, if you are, as a sheriff, you really don't need to be a cop. Matter of fact, it's better if you are not a law enforcement officer, believe it or not, because your job is to interface between the people and the law enforcement officers. So if you're one of them, you're kind of biased. You're kind of biased in a way. You, as the county sheriff here in Michigan, be a law enforcement officer, but you could be a plumber too. It's not required that you're a law officer, but the only person that works for you that you can fire at will, or that works at your luxury as sheriff, is the undersheriff, a law enforcement officer, and all the deputies work for him. So if you have a deputy that, let's say, uses a bad word with one of your citizens in the county, and she comes to you, the sheriff, with no uniform on and no gun, or she calls you on the phone and says, Deputy Sheriff so-and-so called me this name. I, as the sheriff, do not call that deputy in office. I call the undersheriff in my office, and I stick my finger in his belly button, and I say, one of your has done something that irritates me. You get him, or I'll get you, because I can fire you. He knows that, right? And I want him to keep his job, but I want him to do what I want him to do, and I'm not going to have these deputies using foul language with my citizens. And people have said to me, "Is that all you?" Well, it begins there. Yeah, it definitely begins there. They have to remember that they took an oath to protect and defend those people. It doesn't say it on the cars in my county. It should. It would have if I was to protect and to serve, right? Not to harass, pirate from. All right. Things change though, and they can change. It's where it is right now, but it doesn't have to be there. The last county sheriff we had was really bad news. The one we have right now, nobody really knows because he doesn't really do much, doesn't take a stand, is kind of just there, I get it. Not everybody's a sheepdog. Not everybody's a sheepdog. Not everybody feels the need to look out for the weaker members. They just don't. And people are different. Hand over Junior. I bet some people would. Yeah. Especially if he's redheaded. It's amazing the things people are willing to do in fear mode. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. We are currently incubating 30 new layers. Right on. Crunchy, 90 degrees, flies right now, transitioning back to build mode. I get it. Tell me about it, Mark. I panicked, bought a couple thousand rounds of 5.56 in March of 2020 and haven't shot more than 100 rounds in the last 3. Yeah, but you got them. Yeah, you don't need that much, and you've practiced plenty. It's not like it changes, once you've gone through the training that you've been through. It's the same 20 years from now. They still feel the same when you shoot them and smell the same and everything else. You don't need that kind of ammo. So trade it for chickens. Sorry, nothing's going to happen. I'm not getting my money back. That's the inspection sticker on the pump has an 800 number. Waste your time. Oh, okay. You're saying you didn't get the gas that you paid for. And I don't know. That's never happened to me. I don't think. I guess I don't look at it that closely. Anyway, good show. Thanks for the questions. I guess we'll take up Andy's subject tomorrow night. That'd be a really good one. I can get that written down, and I've got some points we can go over right away. And ask you all to think about other topics think about it this way, though. Think about like when this information gets out and is released, it has an effect. It really does. So you have the opportunity to say, hey, let's talk about this, Mark. Let's talk about this. And okay, we'll do that. All right. But some thought into it, please. I'm asking you to do something. And I want to bring to your attention right here. We have merch now. You can check it out at the Anyone Can Farm Experience website, the anyonecanfarmexperience.com. All right. Yeah, that's the website. And there is oh, that's what's doing that. There is sweatshirts, there's coffee cups, there's watch caps, there's baseball caps, there's trucker caps. Those are the ones with this on them. Kids are wearing now. Sticks for your kids. There's 3 different for toddlers. It's a solid one, a little bit shorter board. For teenagers, we got a really nice tight wrap of barbed wire on there. Stubborn teenagers, you've got the ones you plug in first. Yep, that's really good. But go ahead and visit there. Any of the dollars, any of the profit is going to the classroom fund. And we're going to start calling it the Schoolhouse Fund. Right? It's going to be the schoolhouse. Okay? So we want to get that built before the fall comes around when we start doing classes again. All right. Appreciate it. Remember, anyone can farm.